Alright, hello there. My name is Eric, and today I'm going to be talking about SSRI discontinuation syndrome. Also, this affects SNRI users, so selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, selective norepinephrine and serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Long names. Basically, yeah, class of drugs that is mainly used to treat anxiety and depression in all sorts of people. Very used drugs. I'm not against them. For me, this was a decision. Well, to get on them was because I had horrific anxiety that was very invasive to my day-to-day life and caused severe issues to the point where I remember having like borderline panic attacks, just sitting alone in my own thoughts. It became a huge problem in my life. This was back in September of last year. Now I think a big part of that was because I was taking drugs to cope, and those drugs ended up having their own withdrawals, which made the anxiety worse and caused me to seek help, which I'm glad I did. I can make a whole lot of videos about what's happened to me this year. This has been by far the most difficult year of my life, at least in terms of relationships and emotional regulation. Yeah. Anyways, now I'm going to be getting back to the main topic. So, I was on 10 milligrams, which is the starting dose of escitalopram, 10 milligrams daily, and I kept taking that dose pretty much the whole time. Things went well, except for a huge and increasing amount of emotional blunting that seemed to really become more intense over time. A sense of disconnection, loss of motivation, loss of energy, loss of focus. Essentially, I started having a lot of depressive symptoms from the use of escitalopram over time. The depressive symptoms got worse and more intense, and then that led to sexual side effects, which were not fun either. So it just led to a whole myriad of problems, and the original anxiety that it was solving, sure, it was still helping with that, not as much as before, but there was also developing more severe issues, and I knew that if I increased the dose, the likelihood of having more severe emotional blunting, more severe sense of disconnection, potentially more loss of motivation, all of these things, at least in the long run, right, would likely increase. Because let's look at it, okay? 10 milligrams, let's say I developed a tolerance. 10 milligrams, well, then you move up to 15, right? And then from there, sure, maybe it works for a couple months, okay, and then you have to go up to 20. 20 is the highest dose available, So eventually, over a long time, you develop a tolerance to that. And then what do? Well, they might have more medications or switch medications, and the cycle continues. So for me, I thought that, it's manageable enough in terms of the anxiety. I'm not using any other substances to cope. Let's give it a try. So this has been a bit of an experiment, but it obviously hasn't been easy. These drugs do create a physical dependence, and for me, I haven't flat out gone cold turkey, but I've reduced my dose to 5 milligrams over the period of a week and a half, and now I'm really starting to feel it. Today especially, I would describe it as more irritability, severe mental fatigue, difficulty concentrating as before, just more intense, a certain amount of apathy, but also dread, moments of dread. It's not like it's constant, but there's like normal moments and then lows, and those low moments are really intense. Even just right now, I have difficulty focusing on the camera. I'm having trouble remembering that I'm even making a video. Yeah, it's a strange state to be in. It's a state of like disconnection. Again, this is my personal experience with this. I'm not saying it'd be like that for everybody. I've been having, chills. Chills has been a big one. Chills for my body. Occasional like moments of just not intense brain activity, but I can feel like it's not like shocks, but almost like shocks. Chills, slight shocks, like weird feelings. Sometimes, my body temperature seems to change, like I feel warm in my face, but other parts, like you can see this right now, I got goosebumps. It's still focusing on my face. Anyways, got goosebumps. Just strange. So, I know this will pass. It's not overbearing. I have other issues in my life too, and that's the main thing that I want to remind myself of, is that these things, it's like, was I truly mentally ill? Did I truly have a brain problem? Or did I have a problem managing my life? Which, can be caused by issues in the brain, don't get me wrong, but if I were to look at my life at that point, between my desires and where my life stood, could there have been a compromise that I could have made? Right, where I want to bring more curiosity into the causes of my own mental pathologies, instead of constantly throwing pharmaceuticals, and not just pharmaceuticals, any drugs at it. Doesn't matter if it's an SSRI or kratom, as I was using before, or alcohol or THC. Even last year, a lot of MDMA, That's another thing. Last year I used a lot of MDMA. Yeah, well, not a lot, but used it 6 times, and that was before escitalopram, because on SSRIs essentially doesn't work. The 5-HT2A receptor and a bunch of serotonin receptors essentially, the reuptake's already happening. It's essentially, imagine having a key lock, but the lock is just blocked. That's what it's like. So, with MDMA and shrooms, acid, all these things. So, that's that. But it's been a lot. It's not just that. Like, even just like looking at myself, I feel like I'm getting old. I feel like I'm not intelligent enough to do a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of doubts that are circling through my mind, and these things would likely be better addressed in therapy, which I was doing for a bit. That's a whole other video. Ended up in a hospital doing a program for this. I learned a lot of skills to regulate my mood and emotions. So, this is not something that I recommend doing unless you're talking to your doctor and have a clear plan for it. But for me, it's just something that I have to do. Like, I just know I have to do this because at least for the time being, it was too much. It was an overwhelming amount of emotional blunting, to the point where I just didn't care about other people as much, and not even that, just about myself, my own life. Just looking at life through glass or something for a glass wall, you know, to see what was happening, but I couldn't really interact that much. I remember before feeling that sense of agency. A lot of difficult emotions, don't get me wrong. I'm a person that experiences by default, it seems. Just a lot of angst, but can be managed. It doesn't have to be blunted all the time. So, yeah, anyways, I don't want to make this video too long. I kind of rambled on, but just saying this is difficult, and if you're going through it, you know, it'll end eventually. I'll make more update videos on this, but you know, I haven't uploaded for a while, but I'd say something. So yeah, thanks for listening.